PhD. There you go. Cool.
Residential services.
Residential
Yes.
RDPS.
RS.
Let me check the email here. On the mic.
Okay, it is here. Okay. Thank you so much. I can sit there now and just come down when it's time to present.
Yeah, for sure. I think all the.
I just do one thing here.
Up there. Oh, she was just.
Quite short, 5 minutes is not fun.
This is the one.
Yeah, that looks like the right version. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So what's it like? Should I go down?
No, it's good. Yeah.
Okay,
Looks like
so-
it's the right.
Perfect. Then. So it's this one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
presentations. So I'm just going to do a very short introduction. Welcome again. Are you ready with the presentation?
Yeah, they're here.
Okay, so what needs to happen when the first speaker comes up?
I click on it, yeah.
Okay.
This is the, where's that lady's one? DVC. There it is over here. Hopefully it does appear here. Where's that guy? The guy from, let me go check.
Might quickly give you a signal once he's here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My 10 minutes grace, I believe, is up, so we'll start with our program. I'm Dr. Lawrence Corner. I'm the director of our Student Enrollment Management Unit, SEMU for short. Our unit is specifically focused on recruiting students to the university, both at an undergraduate and a postgraduate level. So it's my privilege and honor today to welcome all of our potential further postgraduate students and all of our esteemed guests here today. I'm not going to waste too much time because I do know and realize that this is the graveyard shift of a very, very long day. But I do want to thank all of our guests from the Faculty of Natural Sciences, from Community and Health Sciences, from Dentistry, recognition of prior learning, our division that supports all of our postgraduate students, financial aid, residential services. Everyone that has taken the time to be here today, we do really appreciate. Answer some of the questions that you may have. If you have any questions with regards to residence or potential bursaries, or what you need to do to get into your first choice postgraduate program, we hope that you are able to get answers to all of those questions. Without much ado, I'm going to introduce our welcome speaker, Professor Priscilla Baker, who is currently the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Research and Innovation, acting at the university, an esteemed professor in chemistry. I don't have all the accolades and the list here, but in any circle that you mention her name, you can hear immediately people talking about and recognizing the contribution she has made to her particular field, and even in the postgraduate area, where she's currently the acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor. So please, let's put our hands together for Professor Priscilla Baker. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the session. I spoke to a group of school learners, and I started off, these were primary school learners, and I started off by saying the term acting does not mean that I'm on a stage. It means that I'm occupying the seat until we finalize the representation. Is that now in presentation mode? Yeah? All right. So good afternoon. I'm here to speak to you about the DVC research and innovation space. You will see on the program that there are many others who are going to speak to specific portfolios within the space, but I hope that I can entice you to really come and engage with us around the different divisions as they start making sense to you today. So we believe that your research journey starts here. And by here, we specifically mean the knowledge of how this office functions, because without that information, we are walking blindly. So we do support UWC's journey towards becoming a leading research university. We create an environment where research can thrive, researchers and postgraduate students are supported, and knowledge is developed and shared. Innovation can grow, and research can achieve meaningful impact. Lovely words, aren't they? But they're only as true as the engagement between the first-time researcher and the most seasoned research leader. Let me turn your attention very quickly, if it will move. There we go. to our priority areas. Strengthening postgraduate offerings and exploring options for expanding the program and qualification mix is a policy issue, is an implementation issue, and are issues that are constantly under review. Sustaining and enabling research environment that promotes research, this looks very different in different disciplines, and this is why the conversation from the ground up, and if you like, from the top down, is so important. Maintaining a critical mass of strong, productive researchers speaks directly to our university's ability to attract and generate funding. The two cannot be separated. People versus the income stream are critically linked by the kind of people that we attract into our postgraduate programs, and by that I mean the levels of commitment, the clarity of purpose, and also the numbers. Establishing and sustaining strong strategic and mutually beneficial research partnerships that speaks both to our internal partnerships between faculties, but also our remote campuses, and by extension, our national and international partners. Growing and strengthening UWC's postgraduate culture and support for postgraduate students is something that I, as a researcher, felt was overlooked in some ways. There are many good programs within faculties, and I want to applaud and laud our deans for leading those programs. But we have discovered that by looking at how our postgraduate students and our postgraduate leaders engage as a postgraduate cohort, as a community of practice, that there was room for improvement, and we've taken that aboard. Continuing to build and strengthen its innovation capacity is also something that is led through the DVC R&I office, not only through our technology transfer office. We all think that, oh, let's put that on Dr. Anna's table and we're done with it. We all have an obligation to empower ourselves around what IP is, how to manage IP, and what our IP could become. It's not always possible for someone outside of your discipline to know or to visualize the way that you do what your IP can become. So there are some numbers that speak to the position that our university holds in terms of comparing to other universities and benchmarks globally. These have been in the media of late, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but you can certainly refer to those numbers and double check them. The support team in the Research and Innovation Office comes from the Research, Development and Postgraduate Support Office, the library, the e-research office, the supporting infrastructure through the special projects unit, our technology transfer office, and then of course our gender. It was called the gender equity unit. There's a strong voice from gender equity to change that name so that we can identify with it more widely. And then also research addressing food systems and societal challenges are addressed. There we go. So yes, we are serious about research as a university, and I think nothing exemplifies that more. I am trying to go, there we go, and this picture, because it speaks to the legacy of those who've gone before us. You will remember during Professor Francis' time, she pioneered the idea of UWC chairs. Those UWC chairs have become SACHI chairs in some cases. And now we are looking to the future to say, now that we have this critical mass, UWC has the largest number of SACHI chairs compared to other historically black universities. So that's a phenomenal position. But I always, as I tell my students, also a position of privilege is also a position of responsibility. What are we going to do to capacitate those chairs, to help those chairs to lead more strongly in their respective spaces of research, and then by extension to our partners in other countries, across borders, and within our networks of university. So we have this huge moment to celebrate, but we also have this huge responsibility. Then our student success stories, there are many on the web pages. The UWC communications have been very good. Our media office is excellent at promoting what our students do. And today, I think the most important thing I can tell you is that if you have a voice in your department that you feel is not being heard, find someone in another department and make sure your story gets to the ears of the media. Make sure that it's a legitimate story, because they will ask you for proof, and help us to celebrate. It's around the times of graduation when we see the call for stories. And I've heard from my students often, do you think they'll be interested? It's just the usual. I said, go and tell it. Because someone else in first year, someone else out there needs to hear your story. So if there's ever anyone who hesitates and thinks, oh no, they've already told the story of the Eastern Cape, you know, my parents are all pensioners, and go and tell it again, because it's not a story for one. It's a legacy of this country that has to change so that research can grow and others can be drawn into it. It's not a they versus us, the haves versus the have-nots. That is not research. Research is all about making the story known so that everybody can benefit and tap into it. All right. So this one's gone wild now. There we go. Okay, so I was saying that your stories matter and that your stories should reach the research office. This year, in the interim phase, not the acting phase, remember, I'm not on a stage, but in the interim phase, we did two things to promote that idea. We engaged with the postgraduate students. You would have received an email via the Special Projects Office, for example, to come and attend workshops or webinars. And in April of this year, we had our first in-person engagement between the DVC and the office and any postgraduate student registered in our university. We divided the students up in terms of faculties just for numbers, and the in-person engagement started with a little bit of team building, getting to know each other, because our established researchers may be projecting the image that collaboration happens between UWC and another university. Yes, we can be here. Or between South Africa and another country. But what about the partnerships between chemistry and dentistry? Or law and community health sciences? Have we had a partnership between law and natural sciences, Dean Holgate? I don't know. And those are the things that we want to encourage, that as young research practitioners, you say, what are the policies around what I do? Or what are the societal implications for my lab work, which is in a test tube on a bench? How do I get it out there? And we had a wonderful time of engaging with our students in these workshops, where I want to get to the pictures if I can, because my time, all right, might be risky. I'm going to stop there. Where we talked through the very process of what a PhD registration means. And to our surprise, both research leaders and students were not aware of how tight this timeline has to be for a value proposition. In other words, if we're taking 5 years to finish our PhD, if we're taking 3 years to register our thesis title, the university is losing. And if the university loses, you're losing. There is a timeline for this. Someone is watching this. Someone has to be watching this. And if you're not aware of it, then it means we're playing a game where everybody has a different set of rules. So we're failing. We cannot score and win if we're all playing by a different set of rules. So as you can see, the pictures show happy faces, the pictures show conversations, the pictures show engagement. And we do hope that that continues. The second intervention was with our deputy deans of research, because they are the voices within the faculties that most likely you will be to refer to as a first port of call. And I can stand here without fear of contradiction and say to you that your deputy deans of research in the faculties are doing amazing work. Work that goes beyond the mandate of what is expected, let's say, from the institutional point of view, to connect with departments, to bridge gaps in conversation and communications, to point you in the right direction. So do not hesitate to call on them, to start a conversation, or to make new suggestions. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think there's some more pictures and some more threads to develop around that, but they all speak to the same sentiment of bringing the point across that you are not working in isolation, that there is a body of postgraduate students just like yourself. There is a body of postgraduate students who are also staff members and juggling this double load of teaching and managing their own students whilst completing their own work, and often feeling very overwhelmed. So the message is that you are not alone, and there are platforms, we have created them now, where you will have a voice online. We'll be asking for your feedback, so don't hesitate to get involved. I think I may be erring on the side of taking too much time, but I do want to leave you with my concluding remarks. And it speaks to this, that postgraduate research requires a rare, powerful combination of courage, integrity, dedication, and honesty. The pillar of courage asks of us to choose a path which can be very challenging, but to do so courageously. Research means stepping into the absolute unknown. It asks you to leave behind comfortable, established answers and ask the difficult questions. This is the kind of courage that survives without a daily pat on the back. You know, in undergraduate, I get my 80%, hey, everybody claps for me, mommy's happy. Research is not like that. More often than not, you go home and you don't know what to tell them. Excuse me, they'll ask, did you pass this year? What do we say? We only pass when we submit our thesis, you know, so it's a different ball game altogether. And very often the absence of that pat breaks us, because we forget that our research success is deeply rooted in the values and the validation that we already carry within ourselves. As you search for those answers, integrity and honesty must be your unwavering compass. True research demands absolute alignment with the facts, especially when the data contradicts your preferred hypothesis. You know, the one that you submitted and that was already approved. Sometimes you have to change it. Your profound commitment to ethical research is what builds public trust. It is what transforms a simple project into a lasting legacy of credible, impactful knowledge. Overall, this journey may be considered a marathon, one that tests the future version of who you are, even as you are still developing. It is fueled by pure dedication, but it is softened by your passion for your particular area of research. Your love for your subject and the unshakable belief that something better, something brighter and more beautiful awaits on the horizon. That will be the very wings that carry you through your most challenging moments. At UWC, we believe that we do not just train academics, we nurture intellectual leaders who embody these values to build a just and equitable society. Therefore, the most imperative complement to the excellent postgraduate student is, in fact, a most excellent postgraduate leader, the supervisor. Our supervisors are here to support, capacitate, challenge, and lead you with that very same courage, integrity, dedication, and honesty that is required of the student. So, perhaps a little bit poetic, but true nonetheless. Welcome to the University of the Western Cape, and welcome to the start of your very own extraordinary journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think it's much needed by many of our researchers, our master's and PhD students. You're absolutely right. The journey seems very lonely, and at times you wonder why you started the journey. But thank you very much for the wise words and the words of encouragement to all of our students. I'm now going to call up Professor Mohammed from the Faculty of Dentistry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. Can't find the cursor. What's the issue? Can't find the cursor here. I can't find the cursor here. I need to get the cursor here. Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
There we
just,
go.
okay.
Where's the presentation?
It's on the desktop.
It's on a desktop, okay. Thank you.
It's not in presenter. Oh.
Cool. Just press that.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Nadia Mohammed from the Faculty of Dentistry. I'm the Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Studies. I don't know how many people are here from dentistry. I suspect not many because most of them are probably at Tygerberg campus or at the South African Dental Conference in Cape Town. But I'm just here to give you an idea of the postgraduate offerings at dentistry for those of you who are here. Okay. Maybe it will be interesting even if you're not from dentistry. What is this? I suppose that's no. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this thing. I think it's stuck.
Do you want to move down? Can't you use these? Yeah, I'm using them.
Just give us a minute to get sorted here.
Just click on that second one quickly. That's all.
No, we'll read the presentation. Can I just ask you to help you with the presentation, please? No, cancel. Do you want to come this side, maybe?
Okay.
Can we use this?
Okay, there we go. I think we'll give it another try. Okay, so the postgraduate programs on offer at the Faculty of Dentistry include the postgraduate diploma. You'll see we don't have an honors program, so we've got a diploma, NQF level 8. Then we've got a Master of Science in Dentistry at NQF level 9. Here we've got the Thesis Masters, which is purely by research. We've got clinical programs and structured programs. Then we've got the Master of Dental Surgery, which is a specialist degree. So there are 6 specialist disciplines in dentistry. And then we've got the Doctor of Philosophy. So if we just look at the postgraduate diploma in dentistry, I suppose a lot of you don't know that it's offered in all of these different branches of dentistry, which is quite a lot. But for the moment, probably for next year, we're only going to be offering 2 because we are still busy sorting out some of our programs with the Council on Higher Education. So there are some things that we still need to sort out. So for now, I think for next year, we'll probably only be we'll only be taking students in endodontics and forensic odontology. So with this postgraduate diploma, usually it's part-time over 2 years, and usually there are 3 contact sessions per year, maybe 3 days in each contact session, and it's a mix of things. It can be blended learning, on-site, it can be hands-on training, and when it comes to assessment, there's formative assessment, where there are seminars, case presentations, assignments, and journal critiques, and summative in some of the programs. But this program is usually geared towards dentists in private practice because they cannot maybe come full-time, so they can come part-time, and they only have to come for 3 blocks in the year. So this is 60 credits per year. Then we've got the Master of Science in Dentistry, which is the full thesis. For this, you need to have a bachelor's degree, which is our undergraduate degree. You need to have a diploma at least because you need to progress from level 8, 9, and 10 onwards. And the format for this is either online, long distance. You don't need to come in person. and the duration is either 2 or 3 years, hopefully finish before the 3 years are up. And these are all the focus areas or proposed streams, which is, again, quite a bit, but it's in each of the different specialist areas in dentistry, which is quite a lot. The only one that we're not offering for next year is orthodontics, because there's an issue with that one. And we are registering 3 new ones, hopefully within the next couple of years, in dental education, oral health, and craniofacial sciences. So there's a huge range of areas where people can actually pursue their Master of Science thesis programs. Then we've got clinical and structured programs. Now these are, the clinical programs are very much in demand, especially with international students. And we've got it in certain disciplines. It's a clinical component, and then we've only got one structured one, which is dental public health. But of these programs, some of them are also still under review. This is a full-time program with seminars, assignments, and usually they have to have a portfolio of patient cases, a portfolio of evidence, and there is an examination at the end of the program. But important to note that these programs are not accredited by the Health Professions Council of South Africa, so we don't really have to have it accredited. So this is a clinical program, but it's not accredited because it's only a Master of Science. So this differs from the Master of Dental Surgery, which is a specialist discipline, and this one is always, every 4 years, we have to have it accredited by the Health Professions Council of South Africa. And once again, we've got 6 disciplines. We will not be giving any programs in oral medicine and periodontology for next year. We're not taking in new students for that one. And hopefully pretty soon we're going to be having a new specialist discipline in pediatric dentistry. So for this, because these are specialist programs, many of them are qualified doctors. They have to have the medical degree before they can come, for example, with maxillofacial and oral surgery to become a maxillofacial surgeon. Primary subjects are also needed, so that is a much higher level entry requirement. They need to have at least 2 years experience, and this is a lot more intense. You can see there's additional 4 to 5 years. So after the 5 years of your undergrad, this is an additional 4 to 5 years depending on the stream that you choose. The 5-year programs that are, it's maxillofacial and oral pathology, and oral, which is on maxillofacial and oral surgery. Those are the 2 that are 5 years in duration. Then last week we have the Doctor of Philosophy. We have proposed streams in all of these disciplines, but at the moment it's only registered as the Doctor of Philosophy in Dentistry. So you can do a Doctor of Philosophy in Dentistry in any one of these disciplines, and as you can see, there are new ones that we are applying for as well. Most of them do it by thesis. There are not very many that want to do it by publication because they feel some of the guidelines is not so clear, but we're working on that. And then just to give you an idea why the clinical programs are so popular, there's a lot of, especially for those that are foreign foreign students, they like to come for our clinical programs, but we're not always able to accommodate them because we've got limited space, but they are also the most expensive of all the programs there. You can see it's like much, much more expensive than some of the other programs. That's just to note. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mohammed. I appreciate your time. I'd also like to, at this point in time, say a welcome to our 73 guests that have logged in because this event is being live streamed. So thank you very much and welcome to those people as well. I'm now going to introduce Mr. Gift Nyarenda, who is the Faculty Manager of Community and Health Sciences. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gift Nyarenda. I'm the faculty manager at the Faculty of Community and Health Sciences. I'm escorted by my colleagues in the postgraduate environment, which has the Deputy Dean for Research and Postgraduate Studies, and also the faculty officers and administrators in the particular department. Thank you. All right, just to give you an overview of our faculty, we have a student population of approximately 3,975 students. In the undergrad section, that comprises of 2,930, and we also have postgraduate students to the tune of 1,045 students. Our campuses are based on this campus, which is the main campus, and also our Belleville Medical Campus, which is in Blackenberg Street. Then we also have approximately 48 programs within CHS, and we also have, from these 48 programs, 8 of them are the undergraduate programs, and we have 40 postgraduate programs. We actually have more degrees than a thermometer in CHS, so you will have quite a few options when you do apply for our programs. You'll see that from the list. And just some fun facts, if you're from this era, did you know we were actually the last faculty to be established in UWC, and that was in the 1980s. And also, we are the only faculty in the country with the word community in our name, and that is because we are community-based, and that is where our focus is. Just to give you also some information, that 3 days ago, on the 18th of this month, we opened our wellness center in Santakral, that is within the Durbanville region. And that is where we normally offer our health services to the community from that particular platform. So when you look at CHS, we are a dual campus. As I mentioned, we are based on the Belleville Medical Campus, and on that campus we have the following departments: the Interprofessional Education Unit, we have the School of Nursing, we also have the School of Natural Medicine, the Department of Occupational Therapy, and we also have the Department of Physiotherapy. And on this campus, we have the following schools and departments: the School of Public Health, Department of Dietetics and Nutrition. We also have the Department of Social Service Professions, the Department of Psychology. We also have the Department of Sports and Recreational Sciences, and also we have the Center for Interdisciplinary Studies of Children, Families, and Society. So in terms of our programs, we have various honors and postgraduate degrees. In the honors, we have the BA honors in Sports and Recreation and Exercise Sciences. We have a BA honors in Biokinetics, a BSc honors in Biokinetics, and the BA honors in Psychology. I must also share that our undergraduate programs, which has the Bachelor of Physiotherapies and Nursing and all other various programs, do have an exit NQF level of 8. So while they are undergraduate programs, but when you do graduate with those, you basically have an honors degree as well at the same equivalent NQF level. In the postgraduate diplomas, we have the Child and Family Studies, Health Service Management with full-time and part-time. We also have the Nursing Education and also Midwifery. And also we have the primary nursing care offered at full-time and part-time basis, Public Health and Interprofessional Education. For our master's programs, we have the Master of Arts in Biokinetics, Master of Nursing, which is a thesis program, our MA in Child and Family Studies, which is also a research degree, our MA in Psychology, which is structured and also offered at thesis. We also have the MA in Sports, Recreation, and Exercise Science, Master of Data Health Analytics, Master of Public Health in Nutrition, and the MPH Public Health as well, which is a structured program. There's also the MPsych, Psychology program, the MSc in Biokinetics, MSc in Nutrition, MSc in Occupational Therapy, the MSc in Physiotherapy, and also the social work as well. Then we do have PhDs. These PhDs range in these particular disciplines in Child and Family Studies, Nursing, Occupational Therapy, Physiotherapy, Psychology, Public Health, and Social Work. And we also have Sports and Exercise Sciences as well. So just to also give you a background in terms of our fees. So we do have our fees booklet, which contains all the fees per program, but also just to give you comfort that we do also offer bursaries to assist you with your studies. We offer attraction bursaries, retention, and also completion. So for the attraction, we're looking at assisting you with registration. For your retention, that's for your tuition during the course of your studies, and we also offer completion to allow you to complete your studies. So if you need to do some thesis editing and the likes of things, there is also funds for that. And this pie chart here is to just give you a breakdown of how many students we've assisted this year in particular in those particular categories. So there's 132 students we've assisted in terms of the attraction funding. We've also assisted 34 students with the retention part, and also 43 in terms of the completion. Now, we are actually still processing more bursaries for those students who register late in the disciplines, but we do have about 3 million that we've received from actually the DVC's R&I office as well regarding this. So I would also like to inform you that the Registrar's Office has also published an amended fees schedule, which basically allows master's and doctoral students to have a somewhat more relaxed fee structure, and that you can actually pay less if you complete your studies on time. So I think the key here is to ensure that you complete your studies on time. We have the faculty's yearbook. You may get that online, and all our programs are based in that book, and we also have the general calendar, which actually contains the rules that the Registrar's Office would like us to adhere to with our various programs. And yeah, that is it from my side. We also look forward to welcoming you as our student. If you have any inquiries, we do have a help desk, which is CHS help desk at uwc.ac.za, and we will be able to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to our programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nyarenda, for that presentation. Other people's money is always cheaper. So if you can get money to assist you with your registration or to complete your studies, please go and see the necessary people. I'd like to introduce Professor David Holgate. He's a mathematician by trade, and he's the Dean of Science in the faculty that we are housed in at this point in time. Mathematicians are easy, because when you need to draft their budgets, the only thing that you need to budget for is pencils. But I'm going to call on Prof. Holgate to come and address all of our postgraduate students.
Yeah, we need paper as well. But if we're good, we don't even need a waste paper basket. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and it's nice to have you here. Thanks for coming on a Friday afternoon. My presentation is a little different. I'm not going into details about how much money you need. I'm not going into details about the specific programs per se. I just want to give you some overview, really, to give you a feel of what's on offer in the faculty and what it means to become a postgraduate student in our context. So that's what I want to speak to. And I just want to acknowledge, I see when I look around the room, quite a few of our colleagues who are here. So thank you for coming. And our Deputy Dean for Research, Prof. Ngete, is here. And our Deputy Dean for Postgrad Studies, Prof. Kailash Patida, is also here in the front. So if you have any questions, I will just tell you to ask them. Yeah, there are a number of people here, and it's nice to have you. Thanks. So let's fire off that. What I wanted to start by saying is that if you're thinking about postgraduate studies, in a sense, you have to think differently about when you left school and you chose a degree, what went through your mind. Maybe it was, what job will I get? Maybe it was what I enjoyed or what good marks I got. I don't know what motivated you. But if you're going into postgrad studies, you need to think a little bit differently. And one way to frame it is what I've put here, is that it starts with thinking about a problem that you want to solve. Those 4 things that I've got there are not everything. It's just as an example. So if you're interested in water and climate, then you think, well, what are the things about water? What are the things about climate that I would like to look into? If you're interested in health, what is it about health that motivates me? So think a little bit about what does the world need? What can my science studies contribute to that, and help that to guide you as to where you may want to go. I think we're often guided by money, okay, or there's a bursary here, or there's a whatever. Remember, you're wanting to make a meaningful contribution when you study further. And let that be part of your motivation. And part of the motivation is what you enjoy. That's got to be crucial. But also, what can I contribute? What problems are there that are worth thinking about? And that doesn't necessarily have to be discipline specific. That's really the point. So if you look at our faculty, there are these 9 academic departments and the 1 school of pharmacy. And you may be used to thinking in that way. So I like physics, or I'm interested in chemistry or biotechnology. That's part of the way to think. But in a sense, your discipline is where you come into the study. It doesn't have to be this closed boundary, and that's the picture that I want to put across to some extent. And postgraduate study can really start to connect the dots between these different departments. I'm not saying you won't be. Maybe you love mathematics, as I do, and you want to just do mathematics. You don't care about anything else. But at the same time, there are great opportunities at postgraduate study to connect dots between different opportunities. And I'd like to challenge you to think that way. And then if you think that way and you look at our faculty, if I was to summarize what we do, that's perhaps one way to break it down. So there's 6 themes or ecosystems, really, that you can use to think about what is it that motivates me, what is the direction that I could go into. So there's the topics of earth, water, climate resilience. There's a lot of talk about that, and our faculty touches that in a number of places. Food, biodiversity, agriculture, One Health. These are also topics that cross a number of disciplines, but are very, very important for us to think about. Nanoscience, we've got a lot of activity in the faculty in nanoscience, in materials, sustainable technologies, and then also human health, medicines, infections, and the 5th one there, data, AI, and mathematical work, and the last one, which overlaps to some extent with the 5th as well, astronomy and basic physics. So even these overlap to some extent, but I would challenge you to think about your postgraduate study in that kind of framework, and not just about, I want to study in this department, but think about the problems that you can solve and how they can be within the themes that you can see coming out from the strengths in our faculty. And to give you just some, if I run through those 6 things. So, for instance, Earth systems. Some of it is based in our Department of Earth Sciences, but Earth, water, climate, already those touch a few different departments within the faculty. So it may be about water resources, agriculture, ecosystems. It might be about petroleum and geoenergy. It might be about what goes on underground, understanding the rocks and the minerals and what makes up our planet. But the point is to think you're trying to understand the Earth, and then what are the departments, what are the disciplines that feed into that? That's really the message that I want to get across. Food systems, those really cut across many, many departments and research activities within the faculty. So there's regenerative agriculture and understanding plants, microbial genomics, but then there's also biodiversity and the ecological infrastructure that contributes to that. And if you know the faculty a little bit, you'll have seen I've already mentioned about 3 departments in an institute, just by touching on those topics. If you think of the nano activity, so small-scale materials that address large challenges, there's a lot of work, as I said, in nanoscience, renewable energy, batteries, green hydrogen work, then sensors, health, but for food, for the environment, membrane technology, and nanomedicine, nanotoxicology, and treatment with nanoparticles. So that word nano crosses, again, if you look through that list, you can see that's a number of departments that are involved. But maybe there's an aspect of nanoscience that catches you. And we have, as I said, that's probably us, if you were to look at the faculty, that umbrella is perhaps one of our strongest contributions to science. If you look at the health side, there's a whole spectrum of health that's addressed, from what you might look at under a microscope, TB, viruses, microbial resistance, to what you may experience in the human body, blood-brain barrier, diseases, cancer, those sorts of activities. And then the School of Pharmacy is within the Faculty of Natural Sciences, and they then move into the clinical side as well. So there's a real spectrum of activity around health. And then the data, the mathematics, there are many facets to that as well. AI, everybody talks about AI, but at the end of the day, you want to understand what the computer is doing. But there's the computer science department also has a great strength in cybersecurity. Data science, that's really living within the Department of Statistics and Population Studies. Mathematical discovery, that's what happens in the maths department. Population studies, that combines a little bit of statistics, but also understanding society much more broadly. It's not just about the mathematics of statistics. And then scientific computing, that touches a number of institutes and places within the faculty as well. So the astronomy people are involved in that. There's the Institute for Bioinformatics. It touches on agriculture and climate as well. So scientific computing spreads across many disciplines. And then the last one was really the aspects of physics. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the SKA, the Square Kilometer Array, which is a very big radiate telescope experiment that's been led to a large degree from South Africa, and we have a lot of activity there. But also there's nuclear and materials physics in our physics department. There's one word there, if you have had the chance to read what's on the screen, Paul. Who's Paul? Okay. There's, just as an example, there's a project, it's still in its infancy, but we're optimistic that it's going to go ahead, where as you drive to Worcester, there's a tunnel that goes through the mountain, and they're expanding the tunnel. And they're planning to build an underground laboratory there that measures nuclear particles that travel through the Earth. So as you sit here going through your thumb, there are lots of particles that you can't see. And some of those get filtered out by rock, but some don't. So they're planning to have an underground laboratory in the mountains. So there are aspects of physics that you probably haven't even thought of that are available. Okay, that's really just a very quick flash shot. And as I said at the beginning, it's to challenge your thinking as you look for opportunities, is to look at the faculty, go and look through what there is on offer. And yes, you can do a MSc in biotechnology, but at the same time, ask yourself, what are the problems that I want to solve? What are the things that I can see the expertise in the faculty that make me think that's what motivates me to study further? A very important aspect of our faculty is that we've got some institutes. Institutes, if you look at the bottom right corner there, that they have some specialized facilities. They have highly trained teams and very strong research networks. So those institutes, some of them sit within a department, some of them cut across the department. There's the IMBM, which is microbial biotechnology, the Institute for Water Studies, which cuts across a few departments. Well, we like to say SciMac, although the A actually comes before the M. They're in the green hydrogen and advanced materials, but also energy storage, water purification. Ben Bladergroen is here from SciMac. They're the closest we have to engineering, I think, in our faculty. SANBI, I mentioned earlier, bioinformatics. And what's bioinformatics? So yes, there's a computing element to it, as the name suggests. But they have a very strong footprint in health research in Africa, but using data to inform what they're doing. And then IDEA, which is linked to the physics department and the astronomy work, is actually an institute shared with UCT and the University of Pretoria. But they're building the cloud infrastructure and the data capabilities to deal with the information that's coming from the square kilometer array. And then another way to perhaps get some feeling for what's happening in the faculty, Priscilla Baker earlier mentioned the Saatchi chairs that we're proud of. We've got a lot of Saatchi chairs in our faculty, research chairs, and a few research chairs from other designations. And I've grouped them under 4 broad categories. So some under the water environment, some under agriculture and food. There's some that are in materials and energy, and linking that with health, and then some in the data, mathematics, astronomy sphere. So I put those up there. Again, the message that I'm wanting to put across is there's a vast amount of research that goes on in the faculty. And yes, your undergraduate degree or whatever you carry with you will inform where you study further, but please take a look at the breadth of the faculty and see what is it that I think I'm motivated to look at. And the Saatchi chairs definitely give a picture of some of the strengths that we have. I went the wrong way. Okay. Then just briefly, I'm not going to go through all the different programs, but I'm guessing that you know about honors, masters, PhD. So the honors is really, it's to build the depth. So after your first degree, that you take an honors degree that will just deepen your understanding in a particular discipline. And then the research degrees, that's the full thesis masters and a PhD. Those are where you really specialize and you work with a supervisor, and I'll say more about that now. We do have some professional programs and some industry-connected programs, so particularly in data science, for instance. There's also the what's its full degrees, but the nanotechnology MSc program. Within pharmacy, there are also some programs as well that are in that direction. So there are a few options. It's not just honors, masters, PhD, but for many people, that would be the route that you would think of taking. And then I want to dwell on the last 2. If you're thinking about postgraduate study, as I said, think about the theme or the problem that interests you. Don't think just in terms of the department that you want to be in. I think that's important. But then look, what is there? What is there in the faculty? Who is interested in this? What are the researchers doing? If I look at this institute, what research are they doing? Does that link to what I'm interested in? The important part then is you need to find a supervisor who's going to walk with you along that road. If you're going to do a master's degree or a PhD degree, it's not like when you applied for undergrad, you just fill in a form and say, I want to do it. It's based on a relationship that you have with someone who's going to mentor you through that. And I'll speak a little bit more to that as well. And then you must discuss the project, see if it's possible. Is there funding? Can the department manage me? Is there lab space? Because a lot of your science needs access to laboratories. So you must ask those questions. And then you can apply online, etc. But I think sometimes people start with number 5. And what I'm saying is start with number 1. Think about where you want to go, look at the opportunities that there are, find a person to connect to, discuss what's possible, and then you can make your move. And then just to finish talking about the supervisor, I can't stress this enough. If you're going to be a successful postgraduate student, it's not a sausage machine thing, it's a mentorship. And you need to work with a supervisor. And so that supervisor plays a really important role in taking you through. A mentor is really perhaps a better description. So, and they'll be from the beginning. When you have your problem or your question or your interest, if you speak to the supervisor, they'll help you to fine-tune it so that it becomes something that you can concretely work with. hopefully they'll walk with you well along the way. So you'll build your confidence, you'll build your independence as you work with the supervisor. Usually a supervisor would have a group of students, perhaps they're even a team of researchers that you're part of. So it's not just me and my supervisor road by any means. It's usually that you're part of a group. And then if you're with a group of people who understand their science and where it's going, hopefully it'll set you up for something more, even beyond your postgraduate studies. So just to say it again, your next step, if you're interested in doing postgraduate studies, is to start that conversation. You know, think about what is it that motivates you, what is it that you would like to do, then look for the people and the opportunities in the faculty, and find the right supervisor, the right research environment in which you can work, and launch from there. And as I say, I can't stress that enough. So I hope I've given you, I can't tell you everything that happens in the faculty. You need to go and explore a bit. Maybe you were there this morning and you got to see some of the activities and the departments that were represented. But do your own research, think about what motivates you, find someone who can walk with you. And then those are the contact details. The Science Postgrad is just a basic email address where you'll get some help if you wanted to set out. And I think we all know the web page. And you just type in which is the best faculty, and science will pop up, and then you go from there. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. And thanks again for being here on a Friday afternoon. Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think valuable information that our postgraduate students are getting here this afternoon. You know, if you're currently an honors student, or if you're an undergraduate student thinking of studying honors, in 2017, the World Economic Forum published a report, and it said that everybody that was in primary school in that year, 50% of the jobs that they will do one day did not exist yet. So in other words, we are preparing our postgraduate students sometimes for an uncertain future. And I think that is what Prof. Holgate stressed as well today, is that it's not just about your particular program, it's also about what is the problem that you want to solve in the world today. We have had all of our faculties that are present here to speak to all of our students. There's quite a number of important things that we still want to share with you. We also have the perspective from outside the university borders. And today it's my privilege and honor to introduce Mr. Fabio Claassen, who's from PSG, and he'll give you insight into what it is that the corporate world is looking at and what employers are looking at when they are considering people that applies for different positions. So I'd like you to put your hands together for Mr. Claassen. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Fabio Claassen, and I'm the head of HR for PSG Insure, which is actually a division of PSG Financial Services. And today I want to talk about something that sits right at the intersection of where you are now and where you're headed, postgraduate study, and what it actually means for your career and your employability, especially here in the financial services sector. Here is how we'll spend our time now together. I've broken this into 4 parts. First, we'll look at why postgraduate study matters in fast-changing world of work. And then second, I'll give you a quick look at PSG and why postgraduate talent matters to us as PSG specifically. And then third, we'll talk about your career, how postgraduate qualification compounds over time. And then finally, we'll flip the lens and look at the employers like us actually investing in postgraduate talent and what's in it for the organization as well. Let's start with the big picture here. I just want to pause here a little bit. So why does postgraduate studies matter right now in 2026, and maybe in the years to come as well, more than it ever has. I think maybe we just think about it a little bit. Now, the postgraduate study isn't just about adding letters after your name or accolade, for an example. It's a strategic response to how work itself is changing. I'd point to 3 shifts in particular. First, we focus on the depth over breadth. The employers increasingly need specialists who can reason through complex, ambiguous problems, not just because people who can apply known solutions from a textbook. And then second, this is a faster moving industry than it's ever been. Regulation changes, technology changes, client expectations is ever growing and changing. What postgrad training really builds in you is the ability to keep learning. That's the actual skill. And third, credibility, trust and leadership in the regulated sector like ours. An advanced qualification signals rigor. It tells an employer and the client that you're ready for more responsibility. Before I move on to the next slide, I just want to talk a little bit about one special lady that's also here that is actually an alumnus of UWC. She completed her master's in commerce in psychology, industrial psychology. She did an undergrad as well with UWC. She's now furthering a doctorate in industrial psychology as well, and that is Levern, and she's actually also a grad or a graduate at PSG at this point, and she's doing exceptionally well. Maybe you can talk to her a little bit afterwards. She's actually have the opportunity now to work with senior leaders in the business, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that now later in the slides as well, where she has the opportunity to work with executives, board directors, and paving their way forward in terms of how the business should be operating from an industrial site perspective. And that is the opportunity that PSG is giving our grads as well, and we're very, very intentional about growth and development as well. And I mean, she's just one of those individuals, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the next slides. So let me bring this down now down to earth with real example, and that is now us, which is PSG at a glance, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So PSG Financial Services, one of South Africa's leading diversified financial services groups. In practice, that means we help individuals, families, and businesses build and protect wealth across generations, not just across a single financial year. What we actually do spans wealth management and financial planning, asset management, and investments and insurance and risk solutions. So I'm in the PSG Financial Insure business, so that's a short-term insurance side. We deliver through national footprint to national network of financial advisors. Now, why does postgrad talent matters to us as PSG specifically? Because we operate in a regulated environment that demands technical, legal, and ethical rigor. And that is what you are going to learn in your postgrad qualification. Our specialist roles, your actuarial sciences, your investment management, the risk, the HR, your computer sciences, etc., draw directly on postgrad training. So this isn't just a nice to have for us. We actively support and encourage postgraduate study as part of building future fit capability within our people. Now, this is just a quick picture of some of this year's graduates that we've employed in a few of our businesses or divisions within the business. And I can tell you a few stories about them already, but I'll do that now on the next slide. This, for me, this slide is one of my proudest because it's not a marketing tool, it's real numbers and real people. 100% of our graduates are absorbed into permanent roles after the 12-month contract. We employ around about 170 plus graduates across the business every year. We have launched the graduate program in 2016, where we only started out about 27 graduates, and that number has intentionally increased 5 times more in graduate employment to date. We run a flat organization. Graduates get direct access to heads of departments and even divisional CEOs, for example, that I just made now with Leverne. Not layers of sign-off, for an example. I think in many companies, and if I take myself back to my years of experience as well, come of many other industries as well, one in particular, in a big corporation, I'm not going to mention the names. My name wasn't Fabio Clausen, my name was 7025564. I was known by a number. At PSG, you are known as Fabio Clausen, as the head of the department, and you are responsible for X, Y, and Z. So that is how intentional we are about growth in our company, and how intentional we are about development of young talent within the business as well. Now, what I want to show you also on the screen here today is there's quite a few of our top talent which was graduates before, and one in particular that I can mention is Shane Vidboy. He was an alumni of UWC as well. He completed his postgrad with UWC. It took him literally 6 years to obtain the role of head of a department. He was promoted within 2 years since 2017. He was then promoted to PM manager, and then took him another year, 2 years, and then he became the head of department. And that's a similar journey for most of these, for all of them actually on this slide here. If I focus on Sidwell, Mashile as well, he's a lead fund analyst in the PSG Wealth office up in Johannesburg. We got Sembisa Kuguta, which is a head of engineering. He was a lead engineer. It took him about 5 years to get there. Malandi Hugo, which was also a former head of engineer. Before that, she started in the business about 2016. She was one of our very first grads that we took on in the business, and then she also progressed within the business to head of HR in PSG as well. Similar goes for all of the other individuals, and then there's, last but not least, we also have Ben Peterson, which formed part of a different program which is called the Advisor Development Program, and he was then promoted into a position of advisor within the financial services space. Now, what's interesting to note, once again, that our graduates, they actually got a quick stint within their career, and they actually move very quickly within the business as well. Why? Because they've obtained their postgraduate degrees, and they're also continuously studying, and that is the type of rigor that we require within the financial services industry. So I just want to quickly on how these paths are actually structured. So our graduate programs runs about 12 months and covers all disciplines and that's the routes, like for an example, your Shanes, your Sambisos, your Milandis, they all went through that program, and it's specifically for people who want to build a career as within the financial services, and also the 18-month program that we have for the ADP, or the Advanced Development Program, which Ben at the end, Ben Peters, managed to do, and obviously he became an advisor within that space as well. Advising isn't just technical, it's about relationships you build with clients over time. It's also backed by a recognized brand and real industry support behind you. If that path interests you, it typically looks more, for a complete degree or postgraduate study in fields like commerce, finance, financial planning or law, computer science, engineering, actuaries. So it's very much relevant to the room here today. I would encourage you to scan the QR code on my right-hand side there at the bottom, if you are interested in the detailed programs that PSG do offer as well. So that's PSG. Now let's turn it back to you. What does this actually mean for your career? Postgraduate studies compound across 3 dimensions of your career, and I want you to think of these as layers, not separate. The first is employability. A postgraduate qualifications gives you a strong CV, signals wider entry into specialist and leadership roles or in pipelines, and access to roles that simply require that advanced technology or technical grounding. Flip the screen there. Flip the screen, just give me a second there. Is this right? No, it's not. There you go. Sorry about that. The second is professional growth. This is the internal shift, sharper critical thinking, real research rigor, and the confidence to navigate ambiguous, high-stake problems. And the third is career mobility. A postgraduate credentials travels across employers, across industries, and it compounds with experience. 10 years from now, it's still working for you. Maybe just a quick raise of hands. Which one of these 3 is actually where you see yourself, which is relevant to your degree? Is it the employability, is it professional growth, or is it career mobility? Anybody that think of employability? Yeah, there you go. So some of these criteria obviously is compounded over a few years, but this is actually what your postgrad qualification can open up doors for you for. Okay? Then let's flip the lens one more time. Why do employees like us actually invest in this? There are 6 reasons. I'll go through them briefly. I think I'm going to focus on a few of those. The top 3 is theoretical, and that's obviously also technical. The bottom 3 are people-related. So deeper problem-solving capacity. Postgrad-trained employees bring research rigor and structure, thinking to complex business challenges, stronger governance and compliance in regulated industry like ours as PSG. Advanced and qualification support sound judgment on risk, ethics and regulatory obligation, innovation and specialist capability. Advanced training feeds our capability in emerging areas like data, technology, and evolving client needs. From a leadership perspective, leadership readiness, postgraduate qualification are a strong predictor of readiness for strategic and people leadership roles. Retention and engagement, investing in staff development builds loyalty. People who grow with an organization tend to stay with it. An employer, brand, and talent attraction organization known for developing postgraduate talent attract higher caliber candidates in return. If I should take myself back to the journey, for example, when I completed my postgraduate degree as well, I felt a mix of emotions, pride, empowerment. It wasn't just another certificate for me. It was proof that I could push through challenges and come out on top much stronger. That moment reminded me that growth is uncomfortable, but it's also the most rewarding journey you can take. And now that I'm a chartered HR professional as well and a head of a department, I carry that same resilience into work every day. After completing my dissertation on my postgrad, for an example, I felt vindicated at the end of the day. I could sit around a table of executives and I could make decisions and challenge their decisions on top of it. And that is what the postgraduate do for you. Following that, I could also challenge your Maslow's, your Desi's, for an example, frameworks. We have created my own framework, which is called the Ignite M framework, and that is just the rigor that a postgraduate creates within you as an individual, and it allows you to grow individually, mentally, as well, with all the knowledge that you're going to gain over the years while studying. So to bring it all together, postgraduate study isn't just an academic milestone, it's a strategic move for your employability, for your growth, and for your career mobility. And from where I sit, it's also a genuinely a good investment for an organization like ours to back. Thank you very much for your time today. I'd be glad to take any questions, and I'm also happy to chat afterwards about postgrad study in financial services, can look like in practice for you. But we also have Lee here that can also answer questions since he's a former alumnus of UWC as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That report that I spoke of earlier, that 2017 report by the World Economic Forum, it also talks about what are the transferable skills that one needs to develop if you are preparing for an uncertain future. And Mr. Claassen, touched on one of those, and that's critical thinking skills. And I believe the Dean of Science also spoke about it. And that is what I think a postgraduate qualification also adds to your repertoire. I'd like to now, so we have 3 more speakers that's going to speak to us about the support that you as a postgraduate student can tap into. What are the things that you can rely on? Things like, for instance, that space to be able to write your dissertation, to work on your thesis, to work on your research. Space that you can go away and actually just connect to other people that's writing their thesis or even publications. We'll talk to some of the issues with regards to financial issues. What are the bursaries that you can tap into that you can apply for? And then we'll also talk about the important question of if you are looking for accommodation, where should you go and how can the university assist you? So I'm going to call on Ms. Casey Botha, who's from the RDPS office, and she'll give you a little bit more information about the support programs that you as a postgraduate student can tap into. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Check. Yeah. Whoops. You just go back. Good evening, everyone. I am Casey Botha, one of the academic coordinators in the Research, Development and Postgrad Support Office. I fall under Prof. Selepe, who is the Deputy Director for the Postgrad half under the Research, Development and Postgrad Support Office. Those are the rest of my colleagues who could not make it this evening, so I'm here representing all of us. Where are we located? At the Research Hub, so that's actually 2 buildings. We sandwich between psychology and the law building, so that's kind of where we are. So if you want to come and pop in, have any questions about anything that I'm about to present, that's where you can find us. Okay, so what do we do? Why am I here? What do you want to know? What am I here to tell you? We are the research office, more focused on supporting our postgrad students, and this is throughout the postgrad's life cycle. So ensuring retention from the recruitment up until you cross the stage at the graduation. And the aim of our unit is really to propel you over that finish line. And how we do this is by providing you with postgrad support in the form of academic workshops. And this is all based on a needs analysis. So you would say, okay, I'm from the CHS faculty or the Natural Science faculty, and I need, or a lecturer will reach out and say that my group needs assistance with Atlas TI or SPSS. We would then step in and provide that type of workshop. Let's say we know that as a postgrad student, you might be in your proposal writing phase, you might be in your proposal completion writing, or thesis completion writing, or in the ethics phase. That's okay. We have workshops on all those academic workshops that we had last year, currently available on eCanva. So if you have access to eCanva, you'll have access to our workshops. And let's say you're busy with your ethics, you can go and locate the ethics workshop so that you're not left behind. We have a new program for each year, and let's say the ethics workshop is only in September. You don't have to wait until September. You can go get the old video of last year, cover your bases, and then just come for the refresher in September. We also cover academic workshops in terms of, okay, so I got my ethics, fun is over. Now I need to start the actual work and do the data collection and promise what I wrote in my proposal. That's perfectly fine. We have different data collection methods, workshops on those, data analysis workshops. And then the next fun part is over. So you collected the data, you have everything, and now you're stuck. You need to analyze. Your supervisor didn't show you that part. It's fine. That's where we will step in and assist you. And then that part is done. So you've done the analysis, and now you need to write up. And the writing up for examination, for who's going to be reading through that work, is a different type of process than just writing. And that's where we step in again. So we guide you with that process. So like I said at the beginning, throughout the postgrad life cycle. I spoke to the first one over here, so that was your skills development workshops. We also offer writing retreats 4 times a year. The writing retreats are focused on proposal writing, thesis completion, and article writing, because we know that our PhD students also do a PhD by publication, so that's how we have the article writing retreat. These are all communicated. Everything I prepared for you are all communicated via UWC comms. Our writing retreats applying for the writing retreats, the call just went live right now, I think 2 weeks ago, so it's currently available. You can check it out. There's a criteria, get all your documents together, and apply to attend the writing retreat that's applicable to you. What else? And this is really just a space for you to come and sort out your to-do list. So I need to focus on my methods, and there's a writing coach at the writing retreat to assist you with that. So yeah. And then what else? We have our postgrad coaches. So we actually have a team of 25 postgrad coaches. So they are all PhD students from second year onwards, and they work in our unit on a work-study contract as postgrad coaches rather. So they assist with academic writing, academic workshops, academic, what's the other one? Data collection, data analysis. Like I said earlier, okay, so I did the data analysis. How do I write up? Oh, I'm stuck, or where to from here? Or someone you just need to vent to who's been through the process. Yeah, you can see it as a mentorship program, or a big sister or big brother who can assist you through your hiccups that you might have. So if you are interested in that, that service is available as well. This number has increased. So far, I think we serviced about 300 postgrad students, and the year's not over yet. So this is quite a popular service that's being used. Where to apply for that? Once you click on the link, it will take you to this little chart form or Google Forms. Complete everything. What I always tell students is be as specific as possible when you're completing this. So if you need help with data analysis, tell us. It's qualitative, or it's quantitative, or it's mixed methods. It's for my PhD, or it's for my master's, so that we can assign someone to you who will be able to assist you through the assistance that you need. What else? Oh, the flip side of this is, as a PhD student, you can apply for this program. So the call goes live November each year for the new cohort for the following year. So if you want to be one of these postgrad coaches, you would have to be second year PhD minimum and work for us on a work-study contract. So that's the flip side of it. Then remember those workshops that I mentioned, the academic writing, academic data analysis, etc., all the videos of last year. They can be found on Icanva under the Research Development and Postgraduate Support tab. They are put into folders for you, so everything is made easy, whether it's academic writing, proposal writing, ethics, etc. You can go and find whatever it is that you need over there. Download the recording and watch it at your own time. What else? we also have editorial support. So this is for our masters and PhD students who are at the end, who are ready to submit for examination, and you just want someone to proofread your work. Try and get 3 quotations, send that to us. My colleague, Mr. Adrian Deploy, facilitates this process. You would then have to send the 3 quotations to us, and he will handle the admin from there. So sending off the thesis for final editing, making sure it comes back to you within the allocated time. So you would need to communicate all the admin things with him. But that service is available to you as well. I must mention that once again, there is a criteria for this, and it's open throughout the year. So let's say you're ready to submit in January, that's great, email Adrian. If you know, you keep this in your back pocket if it's January for, let's say you're going to plan your write-up by November, the end of the year. Keep this in your back pocket. Come back, email Adrian, say, I have my proof of registration, I have my intention to submit, I have all my documents, and here are my 3 quotations, please assist me. And we would be happy to assist. So those are most of the support that we have for our postgrad students. The work study contract I mentioned, the funds for thesis editing I mentioned, and then the most important one is the funding. So there are quite a few funding opportunities housed in our office, and that includes NRF, Ada and Bertie, Hillensburg, and many, many more that I don't know the acronyms of. But please reach out. Let us, if there are bursaries for both health science, the hard sciences, arts, everything. There is something out there for you. I always tell my students, apply, apply, apply. Allow them to say no to you. Don't you decide for yourself that, maybe I won't make it for this one. Apply for all of them. Tell them, let them say no to you. So yes, we have all those bursaries available, or rather housed in our unit. Once again, everything communicated via UWC comms. It's for you to apply and take it from there. Come and consult with us. If you want us to proofread your application, we truly go the extra mile for our postgrad students. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you very much, Casey. I'm now going to call on Mishlali, that's going to talk about the financial matters. So please, I think this is where you can also need to listen very carefully. Remember what I said, other people's money is always cheaper. Okay.
Thank you. All right, just need to fix my eyes a bit. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Mishlali Ngutana, acting postgrad officer at the Financial Aid Office. The Financial Aid Office falls under the UWC SDS. We have moved from the prefabs and are currently situated at the old education building, which is just behind A block, next to the law faculty. So that's where we're at if you're looking for our office. Ideally, at this stage of study, you should know where the Financial Aid Office is. So let me just start. A brief overview of our office. We centrally manage funding across all study levels, whether undergrad or postgrad, that doesn't matter. We provide financial counseling services to our students, and also our priority as a historically Black university is to make sure that we assist financially disadvantaged students with all the support through information and support, right? The first thing I would like to encourage you is that Casey, I think, said, apply, 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 right? Don't discount yourself out by saying, no, I don't meet the criteria. Don't do that. Let them say no to you. And the first thing that you should be applying as soon as you're registered in February, right up till April, is the UWC Financial Aid Assistance Plan or application. That is in twofold, right? It's in twofold, where the university allocates money to our office to manage and allocate to financially deserving students. And then it's in other fold in terms of whenever we get donors or corporates that come in and say that we are looking for students in this particular field, in this particular study level, that's the pool of students that we pull from. So you register, you apply, so that every time we send out recommendations to donors, you are part of the list. All right. So the criteria is pretty much basic. You need to be registered for that particular academic year. You need to be a South African citizen to apply, and also have a good academic record. The portion of the funding that is covered by the UWC Council may cover partial or full tuition depending on the allocation that we get that particular year. And hence that it's not a guaranteed bursary for everyone to get. All right, so on Thursdays, we send out a UWC comms called bursaries and scholarships. Those are for outside bursaries that handle their own applications. So the different bursaries that do that is Mutsepe, SASO, Study Trust, Energy Mobility Education Trust is open right now, so you can have a look at that via emails. Hollywood Foundation is open right now, so you can have a look at that. The CSIR is open right now. You can have a look at that. Also, the same bursaries that I'm speaking about that go out every single Thursdays, those are on our website. So if you go to uwc.ac.za, the financial aid tab, bursaries and opportunities, you will get the same bursaries that are out every single Thursday. All right, so in the different bursaries that we manage and coordinate, there are also governmental bursaries that are there, the Department of Water Sanitations, nationally, also provincially for Department of Health, the Western Cape, Department of Health, Eastern Cape, social development, and also SANSA and CSIR. Those particular bursaries have also their own criteria, which goes back to, if you're a final year student, please do the work so that your marks are high, so that you stand a chance. Bursaries will look at your financial standing, of course, but the most important thing is the marks. You need to fight for yourself with your marks, please. Additionally, for the seaters, so the seaters, most of them that are not on this list, those do their own selections, applications. You would have to go and apply on their website. But the ones that are here, particularly, they pull a list, or we pull a list from them, or for them, which goes back to the UWC financial aid assistance, so that you get an opportunity to have all these seaters have a look at your application, have a look at your story. So please, I implore you to go, as soon as you're registered, UWC Financial Aid Assistance, and it will open February till April 2027, and we'll send out a comms weekly just to remind students to take advantage of that. I will take questions at the end when we have a Q&A, and that is all. Please don't discount yourself out by not applying. I beg of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mhlali and I work together quite often, and it is sad when we have to look for potential candidates to take up funding, and certain students come to us afterwards and say, but I'm looking for funding, and we ask them, did you apply during that window starting in February? And they say no. Because of the POPI Act, They cannot contact you. Nobody can contact you from the university side to just give you a bursary. So please go onto their sites and apply for funding. You will do yourself a big favor because you never know when you're going to get that email to say, please come for an interview. We recently gave bursaries to 3 students from our office, for instance, and those were all students that registered at the beginning of the year that we can verify and say, are we allowed to contact these students? And I think one of the myths is that, but there's no funding for people in community and health sciences, or in the science faculty, or in dentistry. You've seen the lists now. And I'm also saying this to, I believe about half an hour ago, the number of people that registered to be in this session online is about 115. So I'm also saying to them as well, please go onto the website and find out where you can apply for bursaries. I'm now going to call on Anela Mbate, who's going to speak to us about residential services, and then she'll be followed by our last speaker, Mr. Chad France, who will talk to us about the recognition of prior learning opportunities. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is okay. My name is Anela Mbata, and I am the Residential Services Developmental Officer and Social Worker. So basically today I am going to just be answering questions on what is Res Life, what do we offer, and what is it actually mainly about, and how does one apply. So we are guided by the university's mission of fostering quality, growth, hope, action, and knowledge. And we are a department that promotes holistic student development through core curricular activities and vibrant living and learning communities on campus. So basically, we are residences that are designed with the postgraduate student in mind. We have facilities that allow full access to study, wellness, and recreational facilities on and off campus. And also we have a supportive environment that understands the postgraduate's journey. So for our postgraduates, both local and international, we do have accommodation available on campus and off campus. Postgraduate students are often placed in single rooms, and then shared rooms are considered when necessary with the student confirmation. And then within our residences, we have shared facilities, which include the kitchens, the bathroom, the lounges, the study areas, and also the laundry facilities. So okay, sorry about that. So the facilities and supports, we have on-site staff to assist with day-to-day needs. This includes our cluster coordinators for emergencies, our developmental officers for counseling and psychosocial support, and also our securities for safety. And we also have structured activities that balance community and balance, and these are often facilitated by our residential committees. So how do you apply? So when you go to basically when you apply to be a postgrad, there will be a little box there that says apply for accommodation, then you are going to tick. And then you'll also go to the residential services application platform, whereby you're going to be able to complete the residential services application. So it's very important for you to check the key application dates and closing deadlines. Our applications opened on the 1st of August, and they will be closing on the 31st of October. And then it's going to be very important for you to review, receive, and accept your residential offer sometime next year. So qualifying students, you need to be full-time student, and also your academic performance will also be a requirement. We're also going to be checking out your previous residential history if you are a postgrad that comes from UWC. And then for diploma and honors, it has to be 2 years. For masters, 3 years. For PhD, 5 years. And also, there will be a waiting list That usually happens a lot during the beginning of the year. And then, unfortunately, you do not qualify if you do not apply, if you're doing your part-time studies, and if you're exceeding the years of enrollment, if you have a full-time employment status, or you are doing your postdoctoral or research affiliates or occasional non-degrees. So the residential fees differs from residence to residences. For example, our on-campus residences such as Colin Williams and Dos Santos, their fees differ. And then the payments are billed to your student account, and what's included in residences, it's utilities, Wi-Fi, and communal facilities. Those are all included in your fees. These are the important people that you can contact. You can just take a picture. I can do like a little countdown. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nele. I'm now going to call on Mr. Chad Franz to talk to us about the recognition of prior learning.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you to the CMU team for making today possible. Absolutely massive privilege for the university to have a Postgrad Open Day and to have it live stream as well. It talks volume about the work we're doing. And just from my side, so when I exited my undergrad, I was very confused in terms of which direction I'm going to go. So already you're making a brilliant decision by turning up today and giving yourself the opportunity to get insight on the career path you want to venture into. So just with a show of hands, everybody who has driver's license, just put up your hand. All right, so keep up your hand. So who of you basically learn how to drive before you actually got a driver's license? So that's interesting. So I'll get now where I'm going there. So then tell me, who is here this afternoon looking to apply for honors? Who's busy with undergrad? Who's busy want to apply for masters? Who's want to apply for PhD? Fantastic, you guys are on the right track. So I just want to echo what the Vice Chancellor said. He said that back in the day when we used to leave high school, our parents used to tell us, but matric is not enough, you need to go to university. And now these days, because the market is so difficult to get into with all the job applications, these days, an undergrad is not enough and a postgrad access is very important. And I'm talking from myself and my own prior experience. I've seen the difference it makes as soon as you're applying for a job and you have a different NQF level. It's automatically you get the shortlist for the interview. Then it's up to you to make sure you nail the interview questions. So first of all, well done to you guys for being here, taking the time to be here. I'm Chad, I'm from the recognition of prior learning. So basically our space that we're looking to venture and support students in postgrad space is quite interesting space because for us it's about giving students the opportunity to gain access into higher education. So we have an undergrad program and a postgrad program, but today we're focusing on the postgrad space. And of course, many of you have dreams and aspirations to go into your faculty and be successful in your faculty. So what we look to do is we look to be an extra road that you can walk on to get to your end journey. Because sometimes if the faculty close the door upon you, then it's all lost. And I've been there before where the faculty closed the door on my postgrad studies, but then looking at alternative methods and ways to go into RPL is definitely an option for you. So we basically work hand in hand with the faculties. So we're looking at a dual assessment. That's what our key reference point is basically with the faculties, because we come from an RPL perspective, but when we work with the faculties, they are the specialists. So the dentist faculty and the education faculty and the science faculty, they are the specialists in their field. So it's important that we work hand in hand with them. And so just two cases that we could possibly explore, and basically that normally comes on our table. The one case would be, so you've got an honors, you'd like to go into masters. The faculty is telling you minimum requirements is 65%. So then, because you, let's say for example, you taught for the last 15 years, you want to do education, leadership and management, you want to apply for a HOD position or a deputy principal position, but you only have the honors at 55%. You show evidence of attending workshop conferences and you've published a paper or two. That portfolio gets developed in our office and we send that portfolio off to the faculty. to encourage the faculty. So here's another applicant who wants to go into your faculty but is missing the threshold of the 65%. Is there space that we can navigate with the student? And then, of course, the faculty needs to make the recommendation to us to say, well, we have a supervisor in the space that's willing to take on the student and work with the student, but here's a few prerequisites that the student needs to complete before we give the student leeway into the faculty. And then, of course, the second case we can look into is the NQF level. So you have NQF 7, you have honors, but again, you show fantastic recognition basically of prior learning, working in a space. So you come out of the community and health science space, you're a physiotherapist, you've been in the space, you've been publishing, you've been working in different hospitals and communities and engagement. You show evidence of publishing, you've worked together with lecturers, attending writing retreats, and basically showing how you can have a bit of research background. And so then we look at your portfolio again, and really it takes a lot of hard work to do that, because now what you're asking is to jump an NQF level. You're looking to jump the honors straight into masters. So for us, it's important to recognize that and pick up the gap to make sure that no one gets left behind. So then, of course, who applies for postgrad RPL access? The conventional student, formal qualification, has the NQF level, has the program criteria. Again, by us, the RPL route is looking at variable evidence and RPL access processes. And RPL may be appropriate when the applicant, like I said, lacks the exact formal entry, comes from a different discipline. So for example, you're teaching basically, and you have all the experience of being a deputy vice principal. You want to move now into the Department of Education, but all of a sudden the Department of Education is telling you need an advanced diploma in public management as one of their minimum requirements, or you need some background in the EMS faculty. So now you come to us with all that knowledge you've built up as a deputy principal. Now we put together a portfolio for you, and we send your portfolio off to the EMS faculty to hear if they have a supervisor who's willing to support you on your journey. And as I go through the presentation, you'll see the process that happens for you to actually be a registered student via the RPL program. So the first one be the entry point for consultation. You meet with us, you tell us about your background. We submit the application, so you have a portfolio with us, but you also apply on the mainstream with the application number. So then you'll get RPL advice from Dr. Ambrose, who's the head of department. We'll complete the formal assessment. So then you will get endorsed or you'll be declined. So the thing about being declined is that there's not the end of the road. We're basically going to inform you where you need to fill the gap. And then, of course, if you are endorsed, your application goes on to the faculty for the dual assessment approach. Of course, very important for us with the RPL to bring in the QAU office as well to make sure everything is above board, we're following the right policies. And then, of course, your documentation will go to the faculty higher degrees. And this all happens from a space from May when applications open up until September. So that is the space where all of this happens. And so then it will go to Senate higher degrees, admissions decision and notification, and that's the best feeling when you get in the email to say, welcome to UWC. And then, of course, registration takes place, and with the support of the finance office and resident services, that all plays key roles in your journey as a postgrad student. So the dual assessment approach, like I've mentioned before, from the RPL point of view, we're looking at where you're sitting on the NQF level, and then, of course, with the discipline, with the experts in their field, we're looking at basically your program-specific requirements, research readiness, and proposed area of study. So that also tells us a lot about your situation as a postgrad student. If you're hungry to study, you would have done the prior research, you would have went in the faculty, understood what the faculty requirements of you, and of course you do a bit of introspect of what's happening in the faculty with the handbook and what is the outcomes of the different NQF levels in the faculty. And of course then, looking at it from the RPL unit, we consider your NQF alignment, and then of course from the faculty, the disciplinary and the research readiness, with a little timeline at the bottom. So it's RPL, are you endorsed through that whole process of the 10 steps, faculty evaluation, review with the QAU and the higher degrees committee, and registration. So what is the postgrad RPL for access? The pathway. So we take in consideration your prior learning, your experience, the RPL assessment, access on the NQF, where are you sitting, postgrad study, and then of course complete the program and then successfully get the qualification. So RPL, we recognize, we establish formal entry, we provide alternative route, and we support access. But what do RPL, what we don't do? So this is very important. So we can't convert. I've worked for 20 years I've worked for 20 years as a high school teacher. I'm ready to take on a master's degree, because you're not showing any evidence built up towards that master's degree. Then, of course, and Dr. Rose said it so nicely in the previous presentation, automatically award an NQF level. We can't be skipping 2 NQF levels because I feel entitled that I've done enough. We need to show evidence. We need to show research evidence why you feel you have appropriate means to get through the different NQF levels. And then, of course, we do not guarantee admission. We work hand in hand with the faculty and the disciplines and the QA and Senate. And so the rules to protect the academic integrity. So there's a 10% cap, which we get led by Siyaqhuba and Council of Higher Education, the 50% limits of advanced standing, and then, of course, full qualifications on the higher education qualification sub-framework cannot be awarded solely on the basis of RPL, again, working hand in hand with the faculty. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to take the next step to go through postgrad application, it's important to give yourself the opportunity. There's endless opportunities after postgrad studies. And if the faculty do decline you, please, your journey, do not stop there. RPL is another route which you can enter, and it doesn't make you any different from the next student because of the success stories that we've coming out of RPL. It's absolutely amazing. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to come to UWC today. For us, from the staff point of view, it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys with us today. And remember, it's lifelong learning. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Chad. I think the information that you get here today, in the 80s, in the struggle times, I am that old. In the struggle times, we used to have a slogan, each one teach one. So please take the information. There may be people in your circle that needs to hear about the RPL process and systems. And if you can't answer all the questions, please put them in contact with Chad. Can we get a round of applause for all of our speakers here today? Okay. And the people that are online, you can just clap wherever you are. We heard Prof. Holgate said that there's a lot more to physics than what the naked eye can see, so we somehow will pick up all those applause. Are there any questions? I know it's been a long session, but do you have any questions? Before anybody leaves, can I just ask, do you have any questions? There's a question here. Do we have the roving mic available? Alternatively, I'll come to you. If we can't get the mic quick enough. Okay.
I spoke to some of the people in the computer science department earlier today in the hall, and I just want to know where can we find like a catalog of the existing projects in each of the departments. I did have a look at the UWC website this afternoon, but I don't see specifically a list of projects.
So you're talking about research projects. Where can we get the information with regards to research projects for any prospective student, postgraduate student? Okay, do you have a question or an answer? Answer, okay. Okay, so you go to the websites or the web pages of the departments and you look at the staff members that are there and look at the projects that they are involved in. Alternatively, every department at the university has a head of department, and the head of department will, in all likelihood, know the types of projects that the students are involved in. It should be on the UWC website, but I can also say to you, maybe go and address and speak to somebody in the specific department that you want to study in. Thank you. Okay, so under the faculty website, you'll find the departments, specifically in this case, computer science, you'll find them there as well. Any other questions? Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of our speakers. I know Friday afternoon, we all want to relax, but thank you for taking the time to share the information and the knowledge with not only the people that were here in our venue today, but also the people that are watching online as well. I'd like to thank the CMU team as well, and I know that we're in different venues, but the CMU team has worked extremely hard to make the first Postgraduate Open Day at UWC a success. So thank you very much for all the effort that they've put in. And then our two major sponsors that we've partnered with for this day, PSG, as well as AXA in their absence. Thank you very much for trusting us enough to partner with us, and we look forward to many, many more events and projects that we will partner with you into the future. Thank you very much from our side. And then to the head of IP as well, Mrs. Louise Dippener, who made a lot of this possible today. Without her support, the Postgraduate Open Day would probably not have taken place. So from our side as well, Mrs. Dippener, thank you very much for your support. And thank you to everybody else that set up tables today, all of our faculties. You know what, we normally say that if for Postgraduate Open Days, you get 1,000 people to register, we normally bank on about 20% of those people turning up. But the UWC community today showed us that at UWC, when somebody registers for an event, they will surely pitch up. So to all of our students, thank you very much and travel home safely. Our AVS guys as well, thank you very much for your time as well. We know that you would most probably have wanted to be with your families, but thank you for being willing to stay with us. Thank you. Keep well.